just ahead on CTV News.
A teen boy was gunned down Monday night. Now police is looking for his killer. I'm Katara Jones. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
Plus, former Governor Larry Hogan visits a local fire station to discuss the recent staff shortages.
I think it's just a problem when local government doesn't prioritize public safety, which is, I think, the most important job of any state or local elected official is to keep people safe.
And Angela Alsobrooks receives an endorsement from state educators.
The stakes are high, so let's all work together for the betterment of Maryland and join educators to get Angela Alsobrooks elected as the next U.S. Senator.
Those stories and more, CTV News starts now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for June 25th. I'm Gina Barty.
And I'm Byron Scott. Thank you for joining us. Well, a community is shaken after a Bowie teenager was murdered last night. The search is on now for the killer.
CTV's Katara Jones has more on this developing story.
We now know the name of the teenager who was shot and killed in this community and the unincorporated area of Bowie. The victim has been identified as 17-year-old Rashid Reed. Police were called to the 900 block of Lake Overlook Drive around 6:35 Monday night. When officers arrived, they found Reed in the roadway suffering from gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead on the scene. CTV News spoke to a community member about this tragic incident.
Well, my prayers are definitely out to the family, his mother and the rest of his family, and just hope that there's no way you can compensate the loss of a life, but just hopefully that they're in prayers with Jesus and God. And
Prince George's police say a $25,000 reward is being offered to anyone with information that leads to an arrest and indictment in this case. Katara Jones, CTV News.
And that police phone number to call, 1-866-411-TIPS. Well, a nationwide survey by Goldman Sachs indicates business owners are struggling to hire and retain workers due to a lack of affordable child care. According to the survey, more than a third of business owners reported that workers had to cut their hours or quit because they could not access child care. Half said they were not enough affordable quality programs in their communities, and nearly 40% said a lack of child care hurt their ability to grow their businesses. The Maryland General Assembly voted to increase funds to the Child Care Scholarship Program next year, funding it by $488 million.
Well, the first poll since the Senate primary shows Angela Alsobrooks leading Larry Hogan for the U.S. Senate election in November. Alsobrooks leads Hogan by 11 points, according to the survey by Public Policy Polling. The Democrat is also seeing much more popularity with favorability rating of plus 27 compared to Hogan, whose rating is plus 17. Hogan is currently getting 15% of the Democrat vote in the state, and trends show the number will get smaller as the election approaches.
And speaking of Angela Alsobrooks, she has received another big endorsement. The state and national education associations announcing their support for the U.S. Senate candidate this morning.
She has been a strong public education supporter, and we're proud to be part of her team.
Well, thank you so much, President Bost, and to MSEA, thank you so much. It's been a joy to work alongside you, both the state's attorney and county executive, fighting against truancy, making sure we've invested in the education of our children, building 10 new schools in the last 3 years. And as your next U.S. Senator, I'll continue fighting to make sure that we provide a world-class education for every child, regardless of that child's zip code.
The MSEA is the largest professional employee organization in the state of Maryland. And former Governor Larry Hogan pays a visit to a local firehouse. His campaign stop coming just ahead of a controversial plan aimed at addressing staff shortages. U.S. Senate hopeful Larry Hogan stopped by the Greenbelt Volunteer Fire Station yesterday to engage with first responders, sit in a vintage fire truck,
Just like the kind I used to drive.
and draw attention to a hot topic.
There's a huge concern here that both the firefighters and the police department have been underfunded and not prioritized. Public safety is critically important.
Fire Station 835 is one of 4 in the county where career firefighters will temporarily be detailed to other stations. The goal, according to fire officials, is to reduce burnout from overtime and mitigate the shortage of personnel. Many have balked at that plan,
It's going to double response times.
including Hogan.
The fact that all of the firefighters being pulled out of this station and next door in Burnwood Heights, it's a terrible problem where they're going to have people responding from College Park and from Glendale.
The plan calls for shifting 24 first responders from Greenbelt, 5 from Bowie Bel Air, 6 from Burnwood Heights, and 20 from Bunker Hill.
Look, public safety has always been critically important to me. I think it's something we've got to invest in.
The county's Volunteer Fire and Rescue Association disagrees with the changes. Hogan says he does too, and used the moment to dig at his opponent, Angela Alsobrooks.
You know, the firefighters have been complaining about this for years. They don't have a contract yet. They're short hundreds of firefighters. They're short 390 police officers. The only thing that can calm their fears is a dramatic change of direction from the county executive here. And it's unfortunately can't happen overnight. It's been years of disinvestment in public safety.
The county's FY 2025 budget did include funding for 150 new firefighters and 100 new police officers. In a statement, Fire Chief Tiffany Green called the changes, quote, extremely necessary to balance our ability to provide efficient and effective emergency service delivery. The changes go into effect June 30th.
I was just here to raise awareness.
Well, the new plan will run through October, at which time the department will reevaluate and determine its next steps.
The Prince George's Police Department needs your help looking for a missing child. 12-year-old Alexis Moore has been missing since last Friday. She was last seen at the 5700 block of 63rd Avenue in Riverdale. Moore is 5 feet 2 inches tall and weighs 140 pounds. Anyone with information is asked to call 301-772-8970. Meantime, a suspect in a 2021 Temple Hill shooting is now in police custody. 32-year-old Andre Moore is being charged with the death of then 22-year-old Sajan Reed of Fort Washington. The shooting occurred September 17th on the 4700 block of St. Barnabas Road back in 2021. When police arrived, they found Reed suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead shortly after at an area hospital. Anyone with information is urged to call the PGPD Homicide Unit at 301-516-2512.
A report into a deadly 2023 crash that involved a Morningside police officer has been released. According to that report, the officer was following the driver of a black BMW when it crashed into a silver Ford Taurus. The driver of the Taurus was rushed to the hospital where he died 2 days later. The crash occurred at the intersection of Allentown and Suitland Roads. The Independent Investigation Division concluded its probe and shared its report with the county state's attorney, who has decided not to prosecute that case. And you're watching CTV News. Still to come.
The NASA Space Center is in the process of launching new weather light saddles. We'll have details after the break.
Smiles are powerful. A simple smile can light up a whole room. And for 25 years, Smile Train has been lighting up the world with smiles. And each smile marks a step towards a brighter future. As the world's largest cleft lip and palate charity, Smile Train has supported more than 2 million life-changing cleft surgeries in over 90 countries, leaving a legacy of resilience, joy, and beaming smiles for generations of children. To learn more about cleft lips and palates and how Smile Train is supporting the cleft community all over the world, please visit smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, lighting up the world with smiles for 25 years.
A new report from the U.S. Surgeon General declares gun violence is a public health emergency. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy issues this advisory as injuries and deaths involving firearms in the country are rapidly increasing. In Murthy's advisory, American children are far more likely to die from gun wounds than in any other country in the world. Suicide rates by firearms have also increased significantly in recent years for Americans under 35. The advisory calls for new regulations on gun safety and gun control, including banning automatic rifles and introducing universal background checks for purchasing guns. Murphy has received pushback from Republicans and gun lobbyists for past comments made on gun control. Then President Donald Trump dismissed Murphy in 2017. President Biden would bring Murphy back as the Surgeon General at the beginning of his term.
And Metro is reminding its customers that fare hikes go into effect this weekend. The transit agency announcing the increases in April after passing its budget. Fares have increased as much as 12.5%. Metro rail fares on weekends will go from $2 to $2.25 or $6.75, depending on how far you travel. Metro bus fares also going from $2 to $2.25. Metro Access fares will also rise to $4.50, but reduced fare programs like Metro Lift and senior discounts will continue to be 50%. Metro is also freezing hiring and wages to help mitigate a $750 million budget deficit. And in the run-up to the July 4th holiday, TSA agents say its agents have been getting record-breaking practice. The TSA says the number of air travelers going through U.S. airports this past Sunday hit a record high. Agents screened nearly 3 million people at U.S. airports. That record broke one that was set on the Friday before Memorial Day. And in the spirit of momentum, TSA says it expects to break Sunday's record on this Friday when folks get an early start to the July 4th holiday getaway.
A Prince George's County judge is fighting back after she believes she was removed from exposing corruption. CTV reported back in August of last year that Judge April Emidelioyi was facing misconduct charges for refusing to participate in training and making disparaging comments about court staff and other judges. In May, the judge was suspended by the Maryland Supreme Court and is now suing the state panel that disciplined her, the Maryland Commission on Judicial Disabilities. The judge released a statement to media yesterday saying, "Ultimately, I was forced out of the judiciary for exposing and challenging corruption within Prince George's County Circuit Court. Despite these hardships, my commitment to the law remains unwavering."
And the nation's most advanced fleet of weather satellites is about to get an update. The fourth and final installation of NOAA's GOES-R series will launch today from the Kennedy Space Center. The new satellite named GOES-U will join the fleet that helps keep Earthlings safe on terra firma and in space. GOES-U is carrying a number of instruments, including the first operational compact coronagraph to monitor the sun and warn us of approaching space weather hazards.
What that does is it looks at the sun and blocks out the center of the sun and looks at the outer perimeter, which allows us to detect coronal mass ejections. Why are they important to us? It affects satellites in space, communications of those satellites, operability of those satellites. It presents hazards to our astronauts and our international partners. And then here on the ground, the coronal mass ejections have the ability to disrupt our power grid, disrupt communications, radio frequency, cell phone, and GPS communications that we use on land and in aircraft. I'm really excited about the compact coronagraph and the new data products we're going to get what we're going to learn about the sun and coronal mass ejections from that new instrument.
And for more information about GOES and other NOAA missions, follow NOAA Satellites on X or visit the website at the bottom of your screen.
Well, the former campaign manager for Governor Wes Moore is now helping to run a new super PAC that aims to defeat Larry Hogan in the U.S. Senate election. Ned Miller previously held the role of senior advisor and director of engagement for the governor. His new position at the Unity First Political Action Committee, which was registered in April. Not much is known publicly about the PAC, but a top advisor for the governor says the committee supports Democratic candidates in Maryland, and multiple state Democrats say its primary goal would be to oppose Hogan's campaign. And still to come on CTV News.
For drivers, listen up. The automaker is recalling more than 500,000 vehicles. See if yours is on the list after the break.
Sometimes we know what's next.
Next.
Other times, it's impossible to know what's next. Don't be caught standing by the next time someone's heart stops.
Call 911. Call 911.
Call 911.
Knowing CPR takes you from bystander to lifesaver. Join the Nation of Lifesavers by learning CPR at heart.org/nation today and be the next lifesaver.
Welcome back. Governor Westmore has appointed a new director of the State Department of Assessments and Taxation. He is Daniel Phillips, and he's been serving as the interim director of SDAT since April. Since 2020, Phillips has served as the agency's state supervisor of the Real Property Division. He's from Eastern Shore and has a degree in business administration from Salisbury University. Phillips says he looks forward to building partnerships across government.
Good news for anyone planning a road trip this summer. National gas prices are down 20 cents compared to this time last year, and experts say prices will stay the same or decrease for the rest of 2024. The national average for a gallon of gas is currently $3.40, according to AAA. However, in Maryland, the average is $3.50, and that's 5 cents up since last year. Experts say the lower prices are because of inflation, with people changing their habits due to overall higher cost and a lack of disposable income that has led to a reduced demand.
And Ford Motor Company is recalling more than 500,000 pickup trucks in the U.S. because the transmissions can unexpectedly downshift to first gear no matter how fast the trucks are going. The recall covers particular F-150 pickups from the 2014 model year, and it comes after regulators began investigating complaints. Officials say the problem is caused by a lost signal between the transmission speed sensor and the powertrain control computer.
Well, Pepco held their annual summer readiness demonstration in Rockville today. The electric company showcased various live scenarios that customers should look out for. With children spending more time at home during the summer months, safety is a bigger concern as summer months bring summer storms.
Events like today are critically important to us just to make the public aware of what we're dealing with in the summer in extreme heat scenarios, or really any scenario, and also to give them tips and things that they can do to stay safe if they're experiencing an outage or anything like that. So we just want to share what our crews are doing, the difficulties they face, and again, how our customers can prepare.
We'll have more on the demonstration and safety tips for the summer coming tomorrow. And up next on CTV News, we take a look at a Maryland teen's race to the Olympics.
Bryce Parker gives us the details in our Tuesday sports page. Stay with us.
What's up, sports fans? We have a packed Tuesday sports page for you all. We have baseball, we have basketball, we have hockey. This is one you don't want to miss. Stay tuned.
Happy birthday, Max.
Yes! I'm Joan the Phone, here to show you 4 easy ways to stay safe online. Come on. We can secure our world when you choose your passwords. Make them strong. Use a password manager to help you along. But don't just use a password alone. Get a call, get a text, or a code on your phone.
MFA really works.
We can secure our world. When it's time to update an app, don't you hesitate. Do it ASAP.
Just like that.
Watch out for offers too good to be true.
What?
It's probably someone trying to take advantage of you.
Hey, that's phishing.
Let's report it. Install updates. Make better passwords. Think before you click. Use multiple factors. That's how we can secure our world. Learn more at CISA.gov/secure our world.
Okay, sports fans, it is time for our Tuesday sports page. And we start off with local 16-year-old phenom Quincy Wilson's chase to make it to the 2024 Paris Olympics. Wilson, who had just finished his sophomore season at Bullis, ran in the 400-meter dash final last night at the U.S. Olympic Trials in Oregon. Wilson would finish 6th last night, falling short of making the Olympic team as an individual runner. But he will still be representing the red, white, and blue in July, as his finish was good enough to place him on the 4x400 relay team. Now, the rising junior who lives in Bowie broke the under-18 400-meter record twice this season that stood for over 4 decades. And hockey fans got to witness a thrilling Game 7 last night as the Florida Panthers took down the Edmonton Oilers 2-1 to win their first ever Stanley Cup. Now, although the Oilers lost, their center and captain Connor McDavid won the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is given to the playoff MVP. McDavid becomes the second non-goalkeeper to win the trophy in NHL history, despite being on the losing team. Now pivoting to the world of baseball, the Nationals lost a nail-biter to the San Diego Padres in extra innings last night. With the score tied 3-3 going into the 10th inning, the Nationals would score 3 more runs, including a home run to left field by Nick Senzel. But it was the Padres' Jurickson Profar with a walk-off double to put the Padres up 7-6. Now the Nationals will get a chance of redemption as they will rematch the Padres later on tonight. And staying with baseball, the Orioles have called up Heston Kjerstad to join the team. Baltimore selected Kjerstad with the number 2 pick in the 2020 MLB draft. Now we could see the left-handed hitter step into the batter's box as early as tonight when the Orioles host the Cleveland Guardians at Oriole Park. And wrapping up with hoops, if you missed the Georgetown, Maryland rivalry, well, you're in luck. The Terps will take on the Hoyas for a 4-game series that will span from 2025 to 2029. This will be the first time the 2 local programs have played each other in nearly a decade. And the Washington Wizards have found their new general manager. The Wizards hired Tony Weaver, who previously served as a senior advisor for the NBA draft for the Detroit Pistons. And speaking of the draft, the NBA draft is tomorrow. More on who the Wizards might take in tomorrow's show. And that wraps up our Tuesday sports page. I'm Bryce Parker, CTV Sports.
Thank you, Bryce. Let's do a quick check now on our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight will be partly cloudy with winds around 8 miles an hour. Wednesday, we're looking for at a high of 98 and a chance of showers after 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Thursday, those showers are expected to continue in the morning, but we're looking at a high of 88 and a low of 68. Friday, it's going to be a great start to the weekend, you guys, with mostly sunny skies with a high of 87 and a low of 71. That sounds great, doesn't it, Byron?
Fantastic.
It does. And now for a look at our community calendar, the Prince George's County Office of Central Services is having a spot bid sale. All items are sold as is.
Items include as-is jewelry, as-is electronics, as-is appliance, and as-is hand tools and more. The sale taking place June 27th and 28th from 9 to 3 p.m. in Landover. For more information, call 301-883-AS-IS-0340.
And that wraps up our CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
See you again tomorrow night. Good night.
Good night.
Elmer loves to giggle. Elmer's mommy told him that laughing can help when you have a big feeling, like when you feel happy. Make sure to celebrate when you're happy and laugh it out. Love your mind.
To a child battling a critical illness, a wish can feel like a dream. But with your help, it isn't out of reach. Wishes are an important part of medical treatment. A chance for kids to see themselves stronger, braver. To see that the impossible is possible. Wishes can give kids the strength to fight, to get better, to grow up. Where there's a wish, there's a way.